Maybe music was your big dream, or is your big dream. It was that thing that you always wanted to do on the largest stage possible, the only thing you wanted to do. Well, it's not just a big dream to me. My daily reality is making music all day and then getting that music out to the world. And how do I get it out to the world? Well, there's a lot of ways. Certainly, sync licensing is one of them. That's what we're going to talk about today. Get them out to Spotify, sheet music, and all sorts of other ways. But it's more than just a dream of being rich or famous or whatever some people that I meet along the way say they want from music. I'm talking about becoming partners in music compositions that we love. We call this making music and getting it to television, film, advertising, gaming, and more. We refer to it as sync licensing, also known as production music, cues, music placements, whatever you want to call it. I call it sync. And I want you to sync with me. Well, welcome to Make Music Income, where we talk about all kinds of ways to make music income. But today we are primarily, as we have been on this channel for about a few weeks now, focusing on sync licensing for TV, films, gaming, and ads. We also talk about other kinds of licensing, and we talk about music streaming and music publishing and music production, which we're getting to, sheet music, being a music artist, all these other kinds of ways to make music income. And you say, Eric, how can you talk about so many things? Well, as a matter of fact, if you don't know who I am, you're like, who is this guy? My name is Eric Copeland, and I am the creator and chief bottle washer here at Make Music Income. And all I do is make music and make music income. That's all I do. That's my job. And so over the course of my career, I've been a composer, I've been an arranger, been a producer, which has been a big part of my job. I've been an artist and a songwriter, background singer. I've been a church music leader. I've worked with clients in the studios, consulting people in their careers. I consult with many of you who want to talk and find out how they can do more music things, make more music income with the music that you make. Or maybe you want to make music, but you've just not been super successful getting it made yet. And that's what we're going to talk about today. It's really where I want to try to help. And I don't even know why I haven't really talked about this before, but we're gonna really get into this today. And we're going to talk today about syncing with me. What if we could work together? Before we get going, I want to kind of just talk about my week because I have had a week. It's been a week for me. Number one, I finished the Getting in Sync course and it put it for sale last week. We had the big webinar last week, which you can find all the links down below or somewhere on this channel if you're interested. I had a huge, and you may have heard me talk about this on last week's live, but I had a huge BMI check. The biggest BMI check I've ever had, 4-figure BMI check. And it's the check you wait for. We talked with Marcus Manderson, Dafingas, a few weeks ago, and he had his first 4-figure check, and it was very high. Mine was low 4 figures, but it was multiple 4 figures, I'll tell you that. And it turns out it was from basically one big placement on a cable channel. And so I may or may not make a video about that. It's not that exciting, but it does show you that this can happen. And here's the funny thing, just saying, it was literally a sync placement, but I'm not so sure. I mean, I got the publishing too, so it wasn't an exclusive library placement. It was something from one of my non-exclusive libraries, and I can't find a sale for it. So it must have been a streaming download that they then used for the show. So it's a bit of a mystery, but yeah. We'll take 4 figures. And I don't expect, I expect this to be somewhat of a one-off, but I also haven't been paid for some other major television network stuff that I had. So I'm waiting to see how all that plays out. Always waiting to see what is going on with this stuff. Let's see what else happened in my week. I got new albums going to libraries, pitching a lot to a lot of different places. Briefs. I've been pitching to some briefs lately. Really, I don't really do the brief game where I write for briefs, because most of the briefs I get are like 2 hours, and they come to me at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. What am I going to do at 2 in the afternoon, especially with my schedule right now? But I've been pitching a lot, and I've been getting back to music making, which is what we're going to talk about today. So that kind of leads us back to do, or back to sync, which is what we're going to talk about today. Hey, do you know, before I get into talking about working with you with sync, do you know that I have tons of free stuff for you? All our free ebooks and courses. You know, I don't just sell stuff here. I give away a lot of information for free. All of these videos. You know how many videos we have on this channel now? It's like 300 to 400 videos on this channel. I showed it to a guy. He says, do you have any videos you can make short media from? I'm like, about 300 or 400. I'm not sure if that'll do. But I don't do as many shorts as I probably could. I just don't find them. I know a lot of people like them. I don't. So I think we tend to do the things we like, including in music. But you will like getting free stuff. And there's free courses. There's free ebooks that are helpful. I'm getting ready to go and revamp all those ebooks. So go get you some free ebooks. And they're all free. It's all free. And you can find it at makemusicincome.com/free. Take advantage of the 30 years I've been in the music business and been producing clients and been working in this business. And let me help you make the music you love and make music income. That's what this channel is all about. So speaking of helping you make music income and helping you in general, I want to talk to something that just appeared in my head this week. And I'm introducing something that I really should have started years ago. I should have started this at the beginning of this channel when I first started, and I don't know why I didn't. It wasn't on purpose. I was just talking about licensing things, and I was talking about other ways I was making income and stuff like that. And one of those things I was talking about was music production. That's something we'll start to talk more about as I segue on this channel into some producing for clients information and how to make that a music income, and how I made it a six-figure income for many years, decades even. And let's be clear, my strengths are as a composer and arranger, but also, and most importantly to you, most likely, a producer. I come alongside composers, songwriters, or people who just want to make music. They want to figure out how to get the stuff done. One of the things that I'm seeing in teaching and talking to people about sync licensing is the fact that they are having trouble making songs. They are having trouble and or all alone in their little cubbyhole studio like I have here, in their writing room, wherever it is you're working, and they just have trouble coming up with enough music to put out, or they don't really know which songs to pick, or they don't know a direction to go in, or they just don't know what to do. And this has been kind of if you think me making videos is what I do for a living or what I do best, actually what I do best is lead people. And that could be in teaching them, or it could be, and most likely, and most of the time, is in their music careers. It's what I do. I help people. I come alongside people, and I really want that to come back. I have 12 clients right now. I have 12 different people that I work for, helping them in some aspect of their career. Some of them are just co-writing, like what I'm about to talk with you here. Some of them are, I'm actually doing jobs for them, like music videos and websites, and I set up, I take care of their social media sometimes, and I do those kind of things. I'm really not looking for that. That's not what I am talking about today. What I am talking about today is the fact that I have started to, there's a change a coming, folks, for me. And I started the conversations yesterday with the guy who handles a lot of my investments. And I'm currently starting to look for a small number, this will not be for everybody, of investors and partners in creating highly produced, amazing songs, as well as copyright and royalty co-ownership. So what does this mean? Well, this means that there's going to be a change. There's going to be a change in what I'm doing. It's been coming for a while. I've been talking about it kind of for a while. Since the beginning of this year, I've been talking about this. But it's time to go full time and full throttle. And yes, on sync, but more on working and creating music every single day and only that. This is like not revelatory. Anybody, Stevie B has, if you're wondering why you don't see as many videos by Stevie B is working his butt off. He is just doing so much music work and stuff over the past year. So that's one reason why we're not doing a podcast anymore. It's one reason why haven't put a podcast up in a few weeks, is because I've just been so busy on, if I'm not doing video stuff, which I'm trying to limit, I am working on music. So what I'm looking for is partners. Some people come and work with me as investors. They're not the people who are able to make their own music. They have lots of music ideas. They have lots of ideas about music, and they would love to get some ideas together and be part of music productions and put them in television and see that happening and get some money and get into that long game of income that I'm starting to see now. I have been talking since the beginning of the year that I wanted to pump out 500 songs this year. Well, I'm not even close to that. I've kind of converted most of my clients over into partners in creating music, specifically with one eye towards, or maybe sometimes both eyes, towards sync licensing. And we've been signing songs to libraries for the past few years. We've been signing songs we almost had a $30,000 placement with a company. We are focused on those kind of things. And the partners I'm looking for right now, I want to work together with you weekly and create songs, EPs, and full albums that we will pitch to sync libraries, to sync agents, and even direct to music supervisors and other music buyers. This is all that I want to do. We will work with my entire team in Nashville and across the world as needed. Sometimes we won't need them. Sometimes we will. We will go to Nashville to record at least probably once per quarter. And partners will be able to go with me there and be part of that experience if you're able to. We will go to music and sync events if we can, to meet people, decision makers, to put a name with faces and put our faces and names out there, and go to Nashville events or events in Los Angeles, New York. Atlanta is starting to have a lot of events, Austin, and wherever the people who make decisions are or look to provide great music for television, wherever they're going to get music for film and advertising and gaming, all the conferences, we've got to start trying to get to those. And we've got to build a catalog together that is going to rival publishing companies and even, in my head, challenge AI for the machine that we are going to create. I love defense, but I also believe in offense. I think you've got to go. Sometimes the best defense is a good offense. And a lot of people think of that backwards. Best offense is a good defense, but I kind of think of it differently. And so I think what we've got to do is go full time, full throttle. And that's me being the point person, the point guard, you might say, in this, since we're on sports analogies, the point person for a lot of writers. And I've been doing this for many years. I used to do this for artists, but that was a different game because we were trying to set them up to go out and do gigs and sell product as artists. But For the life of me, I cannot get back in the mindset of being a producer for artists. I do work for a few artists right now, and I do have them be partnering with me in sync. I've just decided to change things a little bit and put my complete focus on creating just an incredibly large library. And I need partners and co-investors and co-owners and everything in that with me. And this is a way for anyone who is hearing this to get more going outside of what you can do yourself. And I know that there's a lot of you out there that feel like, I'd love to do all this stuff you're talking about. I would love to get my songs into TV and build a big catalog. But let's be honest, I'm never going to do it because I've got a job, or I'm never going to do it because I'm too slow, or I'm never going to do it because I don't have anybody pushing me at all or a partner in this. And to be honest, that's what I did as a producer. People would come to me and say, I want to put my own album out. And I would say, okay, where are you? And they go, well, nowhere. I know some types of songs I'd like to do. And until we sit down in Nashville and we sat down in a studio and we went through songs, or we wrote songs from scratch. And that's what I'm talking about here. We could work with songs that people have. I'm more interested in writing together and coming up with stuff from whole cloth. Just saying, okay, we know we want to make an album on this. I see you and I see your strength, and I know that you could make a great album, or we could make a great album with some of the things you do or some of the unique and special things that you do. Let's do that. Let's work together and let's create amazing songs, and a lot of them. Like every person that I work with, I want to be working on a 10-song album with. And you might say, Eric, how can you work on 10 songs with 10 artists or 10 co-writers? Dudes, I can do it with 20. Look, complete focus. If I have my full days to only focus on music making, I was producing 10 to 20 albums at a time. They were all 10-song albums. And they involved full crews on every single one of them of different musicians and engineers and photographers and video people that were doing stuff. And I controlled all of that because that's kind of one of my specialties. So I've decided to make a change in not just how I do things, but in my intention, if that makes any sense, in my complete focus. I have decided for the first time in my career to completely release the Kraken. And here is where I have an animation of I have decided for the very first time to push all my chips into the middle of the table and do nothing but what I do best: compose, produce, pitch, generate royalties for me and my partners, and just work on all the songs that God has given me to write and get out into the world. And maybe He's given you that kind of passion too. That's what this is. But it's not just a passion, and it's certainly not a hobby. It's a calling that I have. And it's a calling that deserves my complete focus, and not half time, not quarter time. Listen, I've been a songwriter since I was 13 years old. And I've been a music producer, a professional producer for over 30 years. I've worked in Nashville studios, you know this, for clients. I've made everything from pop to rock to jazz to gospel to reggae to holiday music and many, many other things. And I've also worked in studios here in Orlando with clients as well. Yet, I've never been able to give my music, the music I wanted to make, or the music I wanted to make with others, my productions for myself and or others, my complete attention. Never been able to give that to that. And whenever I do, great things happen. I have top 30 Billboard jazz hits. I have 4-figure checks coming in from BMI. I have things happening. The more I do with the music that I make and produce, that comes from this brain, and or I'm the executive producer of, I make the final decisions on, versus some artist who really doesn't have any experience in that. The more I do that, the more great things happen. And so now that's what I'm focused on doing now with your help. And so let's talk about what we can do. Aaron Van Loan says, how do those of us who have day jobs do something like that? This is exactly what I'm talking about. Now, again, I want to caution you that this is not for everyone. This is not going to work for everyone because there's going to be cost to this. So that's going to turn a lot of you off already. You're not going to be able or willing to invest, because if you can't invest time, you can't invest and make the music yourself, or you need someone to help you, you're likely going to have to invest money in order to get someone to help you. And so when people would hire me as a producer, they did exactly that. They hired me to produce them. They weren't just saying, I never produced something hoping that I'd make money when they made it big, because nobody made it big. But that's because you can't count on artists to do much work after you help them. But in this case, I'm not working with an artist or even a writer that I'm expecting to do something for me. I'm going to be doing it. I'm the person who's going to be pushing and pitching and doing all that stuff. And you know why I know I will? Because I already am. And you know I am because I'm already having success and I talk about it on this channel. You've walked along the whole process with me. Jonathan Carlos is very interesting, would like to know more. Well, you will, my friend. We're going to talk next week, and we will talk all about this. John Carlos says, you spoke about going to music meetups, conferences. Is one the top? If one is Taxi Rally, I'm out. Well, no, I can't go to the Taxi Rally because I'm not part of Taxi. I've heard it's a good conference, though, but I don't think that one is one I would be going to. So, no, you don't have to worry about that, Jonathan. All right, so let's talk again about what we can do together. And this is something that it's been on my heart this week, and I'm wondering why I've never done this before. Because again, before in my last business where I had a popular blog, it wasn't as popular as my YouTube channel. But when I was 10 years ago, when I was producing, I had a blog about creativity, and people, 600-700 people were on an email list, and people really enjoyed that. And that kind of led us into working together as producer and artist. But what I want to do now, I will, and maybe we will, show the world what can be accomplished as composers, arrangers, producers, partners, and artists, really focusing on incredibly high quality music productions for use in anything. There's the ever expanding landscape of television, the film industry. I'm not going to go into each of these because I could talk for a half hour on each of these, and probably have on some of the other videos lately. The lucrative world of advertising. I sent 3 songs that I've been working on with different partners to a sync agent yesterday, and he is looking at them right now. To me, that's a focus we need to be focusing on, creating music for advertising, like specific types of songs that would work in commercials and work, because folks, that is large money. And that's not like, ooh, I'll wait a year and a half to get some PRO money. No, that is money paid by the marketing agency up front. It's not even upfronts like sync is upfront, which means upfronts could come once or twice a year. This is, when I've worked for agencies before in marketing, they cut you a check the day you deliver the master to them. And these are 4-figure and 5-figure checks we're talking about in advertising. So advertising to me is a very important part, and marketing, I should say, together is a very important part of this. And then obviously the world of gaming. This is an area I have moved into, but I did have an opportunity at EA Sports lately. I was a little late for that op, and they were looking for college football type of music. Their new college football game just came out. I got the word a little late. Too bad, because I had a lot of marching band type music that they might have been able to use that's specifically focused on college football. That's now been signed to another library. So happy ending. But we will focus when I start working with people, and when I already do this, like I said, for a good half a dozen clients, and all I do in the time that I have for them is I focus all day, every day, on new songs and new productions that we come up with together. Sometimes it's the partner's idea. He'll come up with a song idea for something, or I will suggest, hey, I'm trying to put together a country album. Do you have any country ideas? And sometimes they'll come up with songs. Sometimes they'll come up with just an idea, and I'll just write the song. Or sometimes they come up with lyrics and I'll put music to them. Sometimes they'll have a whole kind of demo, but it's not really in the style that we need. So I will kind of rewrite it and co-write it with them, and then we will record it and do all the things we do. So we'll be working a lot with the players in Nashville. I have a 50 to 100 different musicians that I use in Nashville, and from my time living there. I just got guitars back yesterday for a project, and this happens all the time with me. I'm send off a track to a guitar player, drummer, or bass player, whoever, and he sends me back tracks. And that can be done expensively, like you track a whole day in a studio and you have to pay for a tracking day, or per song for a tracking day. Or it can be done inexpensively, where I am going to a player and saying, hey, I need a guitar. And he's like, what do you need? And I will tell him I need acoustic, I need 2 electrics, all this kind of stuff. So we'll be using them for sure. And I do this now for the clients that I currently have. Hiring and producing top singers. We've got to have great singers. There are some other ways to do vocals these days that I've started to mess around with, but for the most part, we're going to be hiring pro singers. It could be in Nashville. They could be anywhere. With a site like soundbetter.com, we can hire singers from anywhere in the world. I just finished a song and pitched it yesterday to advertising to a sync agent that used a guy who sounded just like Prince. And I found him on soundbetter.com, and he sang this Prince song that we did, and it's got that whole sound like the song Kiss. And we specifically wrote it for that. It's a song that we wrote. So, and then we're going to work with engineers. Likely, neither you or I have time to mix everything that we have. I do a lot of mixing now, and sometimes I have libraries who will want to do the mixing. I prefer, though, to have a Grammy-winning engineer mix what I'm doing. Wouldn't you? I have a bunch of guys in Nashville who have won. Some of them have won so many Grammys they don't even keep count. Some of them know, the 1 or 2 that they've gotten. But these are guys who have been mixing for me for 20 years, and they've been mixing for 10 years longer than that, or 20 years longer than that. So these are world-class engineers that can mix up songs very well, very fast, very solid. Whether we create it ourselves and then have it mixed in a certain way, whatever way we do this, it's going to be super high quality. And we could use all these extra quality things if we want to either pay for it or partner with them. Some of my players are now partnering with me in songs where we can get them to play, and they take a percentage of the writing. And so, not of the publishing, but just of the writing. So this is what I've been doing for the past, 25 years, really, is helping people record, and people make recordings and then get them out there. But the get them out there part was really getting them out there on CD, getting them into CD Baby at first. That was the only type of one. And then eventually CD Baby started putting stuff to Spotify and to all the streamers when the streamers came along, and iTunes before that. And then now we've got DistroKid, and we've got all these other places. So that used to be putting it out. I think there's a better way for back-end money and long-term income that I'm seeing and you're seeing if you've been involved in sync at all, and that is to get them into television and film and into commercials and into gaming and into any other use case we find for music. And I want that to be all that I do. I want to not just get the hundreds of placements I've gotten in the past few years. I want to have thousands of placements. I want to have not just hundreds of songs. Right now I've got 200-300 songs in libraries, actually more like 500 songs in libraries all told. I want thousands. And I know that sounds crazy, but I'm talking about working on 10-song albums with 10 to 20 people at a time. That will add up real quick, because an album only takes about a month to do. If you have the funding and you have the if you need funding, or you have the players and people that you need to do all the jobs. Like I said, I have been getting hundreds of placements, but I can do more. I can do much, much more. I can do so much more. I just need to pour gasoline on this fire. And the way I'm going to do that is by getting partners and investors, and we working together on this. Now you're saying, I don't know if I'm going to invest. Well, I may not be talking to you about investing. I may only be talking to you about partnering. But if you're wanting to hire me as like a producer, well, then that will be what I would consider investing. I consider anyone who pays me to do any job, and I do lots of things for clients. I help them make YouTubes. I take their MIDI and I turn it into better sounding audio. I do a lot of graphic work or website design. And when people pay me for that, I consider them investing in me and investing in my family and my work. That's the way I think of investing. So when I talk about investing, you're not only getting something done and a lot done. We're going to do a lot. And I don't want to talk to anyone who just wants to work on a song. I appreciate it, but I'm talking about something bigger. I'm talking about doing albums, EPs, and getting songs to libraries in chunks. We don't have time to be sitting here putting one song together and pitching that one song. We need multiple songs. And if you're saying, I don't know if I can do that, I don't know if I can do lots of songs. Well, you probably can't, because no one's ever sat with you and worked on it without anything else to do. In other words, that person's job as a producer, my job in Nashville was to only work for the people that I was working for. So I could crank out albums for them, and not just crank out, okay sounding albums. I could crank out really good sounding albums. I could show you books and books of CD projects that I've done, and all of them are super, super high quality. And it's not due to me, except for the fact that I knew who to hire, but they all sound great. And so I need people who believe in my music and my passion and also my calling. I have to tell you that there's a calling to this. I want people to come alongside me and believe in the kind of positive type of stuff that I want to do. We'll talk about that, but I think there is a lot of junk out there, and I want to make sure that we are putting positive stuff out into the world, positive, great, well-produced, high-end music. Am I talking about starting a library? No. Am I talking about starting a catalog? Probably. Yeah, absolutely. Large catalog. And I already have 1,000 songs I've written in my life. That's not enough. That's about as much as, it's probably under Haydn and over Mozart, but I'm not in a competition with them. I'm not talking about enough because I have to make 5,000 songs in my lifetime or something. I'm talking about enough in the fact that we need quantity of quality out there in order to make income on the back end. And a lot of you can't do this by yourselves. You don't think it's possible because you have another job that you have to do all the time. But if you had a me, you could do all that you want and way more than you ever thought possible. We'll work from our home studios. We'll work online. We'll have meetings and Zooms. We'll work in studios. We'll work in coffee shops, restaurants, theme parks, wherever we can talk, dream, and plan for making the most incredible music of our lives. And then, like I said, the next step is not just a little bit more. I'm talking 10 to 20xing what I'm doing right now. And, I'm putting out a lot of albums per year, and I'm feeding a lot of songs to a lot of different libraries. But I want to 10x that at least. I want to go farther, and I want to know if you want to. If this sounds anywhere exciting to you, I am open to any conversation or any email, even Zooms about this. But I'll qualify a lot of those first so you'll know what you're getting into. But give me a thumbs up if you think this is at all interesting. If you want to 10x or 20x what you're doing, and why wouldn't you? Put a thumbs up in the thing. I know it sounds like a pitch. I know this whole thing Sounds like, here he goes. The course wasn't enough for him. The course is for teaching. This is for doing. I didn't even plan this. I just woke up the other day and said, why am I not reaching out for more partners? I had started looking for investors, and I still might find investors. If I find straight up investors who just have money and they don't care to do anything, then I may not need a lot of partners on the other end. But it's not a pitch. I'm doing this now. Every day I'm doing this already. I've got albums and albums planned. I'm so excited to deliver these 2 albums. Delivered one last week. It's about to go live on the library, and I'm delivering another one as soon as I finish this last mix. And I'm so excited to get those done and to the library so I can get started on 2 or 3 others that have been sitting there languishing and finishing those up. And I have a new way to finish those up. And so I really feel I can 10 to 20x whatever money or success that I've had. Whatever I've done, I think I can 10 to 20x that. I believe we can generate an unimaginable amount of music together that will have a positive effect on this world, because there's a lot of junk out there and a lot of negative stuff out there. And just a unbelievable amount of music that we can make to different medias that need music and that we can serve. So if you're interested, if this sounds exciting to you, I'd like to hear from you. Sync with me. Let's get in sync in all the meanings of the word. I'll be honest again, though. You got to be careful. I'm looking for a very few people. This video is going to be seen by hundreds of people, and only a handful are going to be people that are serious about partnering, investing, and putting their time in and focusing on this. Catalog and royalty ownership is not for everybody. Not everybody wants that. Some people want a quick buck. This isn't that. So you can be a composer. You can be an artist. You can be a songwriter. You can just be somebody who loves music, who's always wanted to be involved in the music industry. Let's say that you're a person who said, you know what, I'm not a songwriter. I'm not an artist who plays anything, but I have thoughts about things that would be cool, and I would love to experience the life of being in the studio. I would love to go to Nashville sometime, or Los Angeles sometime, or New York sometime, and be in studios and see amazing, talented people. I want that. It's fun. Maybe you just have a love of music and you just have a desire to be part of the whole sync thing, but it's not something that you can do on your own. Or if it is, it's taking all of the possible air that you have in alongside another job, or alongside another career that you have, or even alongside another music thing you're doing. I have thousands of songs to make as it stands. I don't need more necessarily, but I am open to working with other people and working on songs together. I will tell you that I am not interested in working only on someone else's songs. That puts me back in the producer place where I am just helping someone else's dreams come true and I'm a paid hand. I'm not going to do that on this one. That's kind of the promise I've made to myself and to God and my wife and everybody else, is that this is not just going to be making someone else's dreams come true. This is going to be making our dreams come true as we work together as partners, putting together an investment that's just what I'm doing. I've got a 6-year plan, and that 6-year plan is 6 years from now. I need to be seeing 5-figure quarterly checks. That plus, doing the things that I do normally, just helping people, will continue to be my income as I quote unquote restructure. Let's not say retire, refocus. But in some ways, this is my refocus right now. I want to refocus to what I'm never going to retire from, which is writing songs and producing them and getting them out there. I just want to get hundreds of songs out per year. I've been saying this all year, and you've been rolling your eyes and you've been saying, I don't know about this.
You disappoint me.
I know, and I haven't got there yet, but I plan to. So I'm open to all ideas. I'm open to all possibilities. And I hope you might be too. If you're interested, you'll find information below on how to contact me. And this is likely emailing me personally. This isn't like a community thing where we talk about it. This is a one-on-one deal. Again, this is going to be a small number of people. I'm imagining that I could probably work with about 10 more clients right now. 10 more co-writers, 10 more partners, 10 more whatever. I have about that much bandwidth right now. That might go up to 20 at some point. So we're not talking about, of the people who are going to see this video, I'm only talking about, and some people I've been contacting privately already because I know that they might be interested in, I am interested in working with them. But you might be someone who is seeing this for the first time, and you might want to email me and let's start talking by Zoom, by phone, in person, smoke signal, whatever you have to do. Let's start talking. Hey, come meet with me in Orlando and let's dream over at Disney or Universal or at the Hard Rock Hotel. Come meet with me in Nashville. Do you want to go to Nashville? Let's have a meeting in Nashville at a major studio or a record label or a publishing company, and come to Nashville and let's meet there and talk about working together, either that way or by Zooms or by talking on the phone or however. If we're a right fit, it may just take an email to know if we're the right fit, musically, business-wise. If this is something that fits with your mindset. Not everybody thinks this way. There are a lot of people who are going to look at this and go, you know what? I don't need any help. And again, this is not for everyone. It may not be for you. And this is not a free service. I'm not just going to be sitting there talking to you all day long and working for you and doing all the things that you can't do for you for nothing. This is, I am a professional music producer. That's how I've made my living my whole life. So in some ways, this is like that plus my writing and co-writing and then, of course, pitching. And I'll be your writer, your co-writer, your sync agent, your complete executive producer. And I don't know how you feel about that. You may not need my help. And if you don't, you know what? Great. Go get them. I'm proud of you. Just go do it. And if you can do it on your own, you should probably. If you can do all the things I'm talking about, all the things I'm doing, then you should do that. I'm here for you, and you can be part of this community and continue to do this. But if having a partner, if having a co-writer, if having a co-producer, if having a prompter, if having a weekly helper that you are, every Monday morning, by the way, I send out an email to each and every one of my clients and or partners and tell them, here's what we're working on this week, every single Monday morning, and say, in case you've forgotten, I haven't, here's what we're trying to get done this week. We got to get a vocal for this song done. We got to get guitar done on this song. We're waiting for the mix on this song. We're pitching this song this week to this place. This is what I do for everyone. You're like, how can you do that for all lots of people? This is my job. This is what I do. This is what I have done for a long time. That sounded very angry, didn't it? I didn't mean it that way. But I'm just saying, people wonder, how can you do all this stuff? How in the world can you do this? And it's like we talk about in the opening. How can you do all these music incomes? Well, because I always have. And that's kind of my unicorn ability, is to be able to work with a lot of people, is to be able to work on a lot of songs at a time and get them out to where they need to be. I've been helping people build music businesses for 20 or 30 years. Most of the time that came from helping them create a product that they could go out and sell, a CD or a tape or whatever it was. And now that's harder for artists. But it doesn't matter because my interest is not in working for artists anymore. I think the artist road is very hard to work for and help. So what I am looking for is partners. If having a partner and co-writer and co-producer and co-manager and co-pitcher and co-sync agent and all that stuff is interesting to you, someone who already has ties at a BMG library and other libraries and building more all the time. I have ties to sync agents. I have ties to More that I'm finding every week. I'm finding new people. I just had a new library send me briefs this week. I've never had that from that library before. And that's different than just getting a brief that goes to thousands of people. It's a little bit more specific, and I get those from other libraries as well. If this kind of partnership and relationship resonates with you, if you've stayed here through this thing and you said, this is interesting to me, well, I'd love to hear from you at the email below. This is not going to be a cattle call. This is going to be one-on-one working together. This is how this works in the real world. You don't join a website and have them create some music for you. You work directly with a producer who is going to help you get the work done. We are going to work together for 6 to 12 months at the very least. Sometimes I work with my clients and my partners and stuff for years. There are literally people I'm working for right now that I've been working for over 5 years, over 10 years. And so get in touch and get in sync. Let's get in sync with me. All right, let's see what people are saying and who is scoffing. Travis says, an album only takes a month to do. Should make a t-shirt. An album, I can do in 3 days. I did an album in 3 days, a 10-song album in 3 days in Nashville. We tracked the first day, and the second day we did vocals, and the third day we mixed it. So an album can take a week, my friend, and that's just depends if you have the funds. We have a saying in Nashville. You can have it good and fast, but it won't be cheap. You can have it fast and cheap, but it won't be good. And then there's the other one. So you can have it however you want it. If you're able to invest, I can make something happen in days. If you're not able to invest, but you want to do a thing, then it takes a year. I know some people who it takes a year to get one song done just because they never get back to me, and it's going to take money to do things. And if it doesn't take money, it just takes more time. And so all these things have to do with that. Clarence says, I'm glad I found this channel. I've had placements in the past in radio play for artists I produce, but full on sync is my new calling. Cool. Let's talk. Song Architect says, I'm all about positive, inspiring messages. Yeah. Listen, as many of you know on this channel, and I'm not ashamed of this, I'm a Christian person. I am focused on what I feel God has for me to do. And that's, you don't have to feel this way, but this is my thing. I was brought up in the church. It's just the way I feel. And I feel like my goal on this earth is to create music that is positive, useful, helpful, that we have enough stuff in this world that is crazy and ugly and terrible. And every day we hear more terrible things. And I like to focus on positive things. I'm not saying it's all sunshine, although I do live in Florida. But I am saying that I am trying to write positive music. From the very start, when I learned about sync, the one thing they said all the time is, you'll have the most success with positive songs, with upbeat songs. And so that's what we try to write. That's what we try to create. That's what we work on the most is positive pop. That's why I call my company Positive Spin Songs. It's positive on purpose, and I always will be. Stacy Smith says, definitely this, but I'm UK based. Will this still work? Absolutely. I have never really worked with a local client. Remember when I told you I was in Nashville and I was recording 20 artists at a time? None of them were from Nashville. Not one of them. I do have a UK-based client I'm working for right now. He's in Manchester. I have a client who she's from Cameroon. She currently lives in DC area, I think, but she was just in Cameroon recently. I have a client in Canada who also goes back and forth to Paris. I've had clients from all countries, but certainly all around the United States coming to Nashville or coming to Orlando to work with me, or we just work online. We don't necessarily, if you've got a local studio or your own home studio, we can do a lot without any studio involved. When I talk about being in major studios, that's just a perk. That's just a possibility. That's not something that we will do. Catalin, good question. How will you split the revenues? Well, or the royalties? Nashville kind of had a rule, especially when there are two people working together. We split everything 50-50. It's possible at different investment levels, then there will be different royalty levels. But my first thought is 50-50, 50-50 on everything. So let's say, for instance, we keep a song non-exclusive. We don't sign it to a library. So a library doesn't take any kind of part of the publishing. That would mean we both split. We split the writer's side and we split the publisher's side. Now, you'll have to have a publishing entity because I do. And so if you don't, then it's going to be hard for you to get half the publishing because I'm going to register as a publisher. So you'd have to have your own publishing royalty. I just think 50-50 is the cleanest split. I will tell you that when I work with players sometimes, my session players up in Nashville or engineers, I will give them percentages of stuff if we don't want to pay them. And so that takes our splits down. So let's say we got everything done except the mix, and I want to have a couple of the engineers I work with will work on royalties sometimes, back end, on a case-by-case basis. And we give them 20% of the writer's side. And we take 80% and split that 40-40. So, but with my partner or / investor person who I'm working with on a monthly basis, who is paying me something likely, that person, we're going to split the royalties 50-50. There's no really other case unless there's more writers involved. But I keep everything pretty much at a 50-50 split. So one last thing I wanted to talk about as we were talking about the splits and things like that, you might be wondering, what is your goal with this? How many people are you going to work with, and what are you going to do? Well, when I first wrote my first notes down, I put 10 to 20 partners. I have some clients and some partners already. I am also looking for straight investors, people who are just interested in being part of royalties. You don't even have to be part of the song stuff. I mean, I think if you're going to invest in something, you want to know what you're investing in. So if you want to invest in song royalties, and let's say I'm doing one of the next records I have is an R&B pop record, and that should sync super great, right? Anytime you're doing vocal R&B pop or hip hop or whatever, those do very well. And I have a record it's in the background for a while. I kind of just do what I feel a lot of times if it's just up to me. But let's say you say, boy, I'd like to be part of an R&B hip hop record, or I'd like to be I have a jazz club record, and you're like, I love jazz. I'd love to be part of that. But I'm not a writer. I'm not a contributor. I just want to be part of the project, and I want to get royalties. We can do that. That's the kind of partners I'm talking about, as well as musical partners. But again, probably only 10 to 20 tops at a time. Even I have limits. But when I have limits, what I do is I just start assigning other producers and engineers that I have the work. As a matter of fact, I don't do all the work, just FYI. I mean, the writing part I do, but when it gets into the production, I am handing off anything I can to players, to the engineer to mix, all that kind of stuff. So I've got enough to do to keep everything. I'm a very good planner. I'm a very good organizer, and I'm a very good communicator. And so, like I said, we have weekly Monday emails that I send out to every single partner. And so you know what's going on in your particular project at all times. And you won't even have an idea that there's somebody else going on. Unless, like I say, okay, we got a country record that this library wants, and I need 5 other country songs. And here are some of the other country songs. And you might see some of the other writers or /artists /producers involved. And you might want to be part of that project. But I am opening this up. I'm opening up Positive Spin songs to the world right now. Again, it's going to be very, very strict as far as what I accept and who I work with. It's going to cost something. It's not going to be free. You can't invest for free. You can't say, okay, I want 100 shares of that stock so I can make some money on the back end, but I don't want to give you any money up front. It doesn't quite work like that. So this is an investing type of thing. It'd be like anything. I want to own some of your companies, but I don't want to give you any money. So that's not the way it works. And we will be doing 50-50 splits for the most part. Could be changes depending on if we include anyone else in the split or if there's co-writers beyond you and me. I will executive produce everything. I will be, as my dear departed brother used to say, I'm the judge. I'm the executive producer. I am the final word because I know that what I do works. And so the final call on the mix will be with both of us. You can always tell me, I'm not sure I like the mix of this song. And I'll tell you, I think it's really good. But if you tell me I don't like it because I think this word sounds weird, well, I don't care about that. I'll change a word. Or you could say I think the guitar solo is too screaming loud or too soft. Those are just mixed decisions. Who cares about that? But I'm talking about the overall quality. So when I send this to libraries or a sync agent or whoever, and they hear it, they go, I used to tell my clients this when I would produce them for being artists. They may or may not like the song. They may or may not like the artist. Back in those days, I tell them, I can't help if they like you or not. But we're going to be hiring pro singers. We're going to be hiring pro players, or we're going to be doing pro. I'm a pro orchestrator and programmer. We're going to be doing and putting out high quality music. That's what's got me jobs already, and that's what's got me in libraries and keeps getting me in libraries is because of my quality. So I'm going to lean on that because that's what's worked, and that is very important that I have to be the executive producer of those things. And then again, and also you get the connections that I bring are growing all the time, and I want to grow them more. I want us to go to all these conventions that are talking about sync and learn more and be a team and be people that work together, probably one-on-one, but also we'll be a little group of composers working together and producers working together and partners working together. Again, I want to make sure that everyone feels involved here, that you don't have to be this guy slaving over a keyboard or guitar to be part of this. You can be a person with song ideas. You can be a person who just wants to see the whole thing, how the sausage is made, how music is made in Nashville, and come to a session just to hang out and meet people and see how it works because you're just interested. Maybe you've been waiting for an opportunity to be an artist your entire life. You've been, or not even an artist, but just be involved in the music business, maybe even from a technical point of view. So this is something for you as well to be part of things. And for there to be a back end, a long-running back end, because sync is a long game and royalties are a long game, but they keep coming. And then once in a while, you'll get a thing that happens just like I had happen where 2 4-figure checks come in because of basically one song placement over on a cable channel a couple of times. Same thing happened to Marcus when he got almost a 5-figure royalty check because of one program. This is something that has a back end where anything you do as an artist, anything you do with sheet music or putting stuff on Spotify doesn't have a back end like this unless something goes super viral, and you know how hard that is to do. Home Recording Studio says, sounds interesting. Well, thank you so much. And I'm glad everyone has been here today. And I just want to say thanks for being here. Thanks for watching, and make sure to check out the link to sync with me. And the link basically is my email, eric@makemusicincome.com. And when we do get together, we'll probably start emailing on another email that is more focused on sync, which is my Positive Spin Songs company. So go to the description below, email me if you're interested. There's more free and helpful information and all our free stuff, which you'll also find below. And you can find that at makemusicincome.com. So I hope you got some valuable information. As usual, thanks for watching, and keep coming back to the channel. If you want to find out more about our sync course, you can find that at makemusicincome.com/sync. And I hope this helped you. And I want to help you make the music you love and make music income, both of us. So get in touch and let's sync. We'll see you later. Thanks, y'all. Bye-bye.